Hey guys, it's Coach Sharf. Welcome back to our videos for our Algebra 1 EOC packet. And this is the last video. Kind of sad. Got the volume on the computer on, didn't realize that. I'm sorry. Mute that. Alright. So, yeah, last video. Okay, doing the last 5 pages, I'll have to do 19 through 23. And then y'all have the rest of the week. I'm recording this on Monday morning. Last couple of videos I didn't get a chance to do over the weekend. I did post pages 11 through 15. So just finish recording these and I'll pop them up, and then y'all have the rest of the week to get your work in. So let's just jump into it. All right, so working on functions, right? Which function represents this sequence? So as we're counting, what are we going up by? 7, right? So again, when it's constant, adding up like this, right? This is going to be our slope, okay, if we were drawing it on the graph. So only logical answer is B. Again, if you want to check your numbers, plug them in, all right? You can really just start with number 1, because I think number 1 is going to give us the only function that's going to even give us this first point is B, all right? If we plug in N, all right? We plug in N, 1 plus 3 is 4. Well, we want 3, okay? We plug in 1 here. 7 times 1 is 7, minus 4 is 3. So that gives us that. If we plug it in here, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 7 is 10. That's not what we want. And then if we plug it into the last one, 1 plus 7 is 8. So again, not what we want. All right, so that's answer choice B. Pretty easy. All right, this problem. I know we already saw it in the equations part of this, so in the equations domain, so y'all can go back and look at that. I think we might have even seen it again already in the function section, all right? Look at the sequence on the table. Which function represents this sequence? So it's we have a bunch of recursive formulas, right? So trying to find our current term is based on the previous term, the n minus 1, right? So if we're looking for the third term, we're basing it on the 3 minus 1, which is 2, so we're basing it on the second term, okay? Again, I think if you can understand the concept of the recursive, it's pretty easy. So basically all the recursive is whatever your last term is, what did you do to get your current term, okay? So to get this term, I had to take my last term and do what? Add 2. To get this term, I had to take my last term and add 2, right? To get 5, I'd take my last term 3 and add 2. So it's going to be answer choice B. Okay? Because again, this A minus 1 represents this. So if I was trying to get A of 3, I have to take A of 2 plus 2. So again, this is assuming that I don't know what this is, but I do know A of 2 is 1. So A of 2 is 1. So I'll just do 1 plus 2, which gives me my 3 right there, okay? All right, consider the first 6 terms of the sequence. Again, this is one I know we saw in the equations domain, and I'm 99% positive. Again, we've already seen this one in the functions domain as well, but I'm just going to write equations domain because that's where we originally saw it. Which function is modeled in this table? So again, we got 4 values. If we look, we're adding 3 every time. So again, with the constant function, we're adding 3. That's going to be our slope. So again, only logical choice is D. But as always, if you want to plug them in, let's start with this. 1. So if we plug in 1, 1 plus 7 is 8. So that does give us 8. Okay, so let's try the second point, 2 and 11. 2 plus 7 is 9, not 11. So that one doesn't work. Okay. And now that I'm going through this one, we might have already seen this one as well, but we might as well just go through it now since we already are. Plug in 1 here. 1 plus 9 is 10, not 8. Plug in 1 here. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7. Again, not 8. Here, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 5 is 8. If you want to check 2, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5 is 11. And you can check the rest as well, right? Which explicit formula describes the pattern in this table? So again, this is one from the equations domain. And again, I think this is one we've already seen earlier in the functions domain as well. It is going to be, so D gives me C, right? Again, if you look, there's a difference of 3.14. That's a difference of 6.28. That's a difference of 15.7 because it doubles, but eventually it's going to be, again, those two are the same. They're just flipped. That one definitely doesn't make any sense. So we get down to answer choice D, okay? This is another one that we've seen multiple times now. So again, just the idea about the function. If this was f of x, whatever I put in here in the parentheses in place of x, we go anywhere in the problem where there's x. So if I have a 12 right here, this would be whatever x is normally, or if x was another number, right? So answer choice C. Again, we've seen that one before, but that was pretty easy. Again, I probably could have just done that for the previous one as well. All right, on to page 21. Annie is framing a photo with a length of 6 inches and a width of 4 inches. The distance from the edge of the photo to the edge of the frame is X inches. The combined area of the photo and the frame is 63 square inches. Write a quadratic function to find the distance from the edge of the photo to the edge of the frame. How wide are the photo and frame put together? So all right, let's see. All right, so I gotta solve for x, right? So it's gonna be the width is gonna be, the whole width is going to be x, 4, and x, right? So for the whole thing, 2x plus 4. The length would then be x, 6, and x. So 2x plus 6. How do I get area? So it's combined area of the photo and frame, so the whole thing. How do I get area? Multiply. So length times width. So I'm going to do 2x plus 6 times 2x plus 4. The total area is 63, right? So now over here, I got to do either FOIL or the box method. I like to do the box method. Apologize for all the noise in the background again. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 4 is 8x. 6 times 2x is 12x. 6 times 4 is 24. So it's going to give me 4x squared plus 20x plus 24. Okay? So 4x squared, 8 and 12 is 20, and then 24. So 4x squared plus 20x plus 24 equals 63. You could just leave it like that, but typically when we're doing a quadratic and trying to solve for something, we need to set it equal to 0. So I'm actually going to subtract 63 from both sides. So that's going to give me 4x squared plus 20x. 24 minus 63 is 39 equals 0. How wide are the photo and frame together? So it wants the width. So in this case, the width is going up because the width is 4, right? So you can, you know what, let's actually try to do the math here. Let's go a little deeper on the math, all right? So we've done this a couple times already. What I got here, I gotta do the quadratic formula, okay? A is 4, B is 20, C is negative 39. Grab a sheet of paper to try to get them where to do the quadratic formula, if I can. I think I got one. So I don't want to run out of room on it. There, again, I know I've been going back to doing most of these on the packet, but if you need to get some separate paper, that's fine. All right, so doing the quadratic formula, 420 negative 39. I know my handwriting's a little sloppy there. There's your quadratic formula, right? So I got negative b, so I want negative 20 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 20 squared, minus 4 times a, which was 4, times c, which is negative 39, all over 2 times a, so 2 times 4. Yeah, we're going to break it up into the 4 chunks, right? So this is just flipping the sign on that, which gives me negative 20, plus or minus the square root, 20 squared, which is 400. All right, here, negative 4 times negative 39. I'm multiplying 2 negatives, so I know that that is going to turn into a positive. Okay. I think I could have done 4 times 39 in my head, but I'll just show you on the calculator. It would have been 640 minus 16. It should be 624. If I did that right. I did. All right. So 624 all over 8. All right, so that's going to be negative 20 plus or minus the square root of 1,024 over 8. I believe the square root of 1,024 is 32. So I'm at second. X squared gives me square root 1,024. It is 32, okay? So I got negative 20 plus or minus, not square root, excuse me, plus or minus 32 over 8. So it's going to be negative 20 plus 32 over 8. Negative 20 minus 32 over 8. So here would be 12 over 8, which would be 1.5. If you divided it, here would be negative 52 over 8, which would be negative 6.5. But now let's go back to x. Okay, so we got 1.5 and negative 6.5. What would make sense for x? Would it be a positive distance of 1.5 or negative 6.5? Well, it had to be the positive, right? So if we got 1.5 and we got 4, and we got 1.5 up here, we add all that. 1.5 is 3 plus 4 is 7 inches. The other way would actually be 9. 6, 1.5, and 1.5 would be 9. 7 times 9. Combine, that gets you 63. All right, Scuba Diving Company currently charges $100 per dive. On average, there are 30 customers per day. Company performed a study and learned that for every $20 price increase, average number of customers per day would be reduced by 2. Total revenue from the dives is the price per dive multiplied by the number of customers. What is the revenue after 4 price increases? So I'm assuming we're talking about the revenue for 1 day, okay? So if we increased it 4 times, we would increase 20, 40, 60, 80, right? So we're up to $180 per dive, but also the average number of customers per day is reduced by 2. So if we're at 30 right now, we drop down 2 4 times. So 28, 26, 24, 22, right? So that one you just got to kind of count through almost, right? So 180 times 22, which would be $3,960. Why would we make it $3,960 every day? I'll tell you that. All right, write a quadratic equation to represent X price increases. So, all right. I'm trying to walk through this in my head because again, this is one we didn't really do. So it would be, my price would be $20. So to get the 180 would be 20x plus 100. So every price increase So X represents the price increases times 20 plus the original 100, right? To get the 22, I'm actually going to write this a little different. We started at 30 customers. I could have written this as 100 plus 20. Yeah, let me do it like that so it makes more sense. So we started at 100, right? For every price increase, we're going up $20, all right? We started at 30 customers, and we're losing 2 for every price increase, okay? So 100 plus 20x times 30 minus 2x. That's how I got, if x was 4, 20 times 4 is 80 plus 100 up there. 2 times 4 is 8, 30 minus 8 is 22. That's what I got there, okay? So again, box method. I'm gonna come do it over here because this is gonna be a little bigger, okay? So I got 100, 20x, I got 30, and negative 2x. So I got 3,000. Okay, I got 600x, got negative 200x, and I've got negative 40x squared. So if I write it in order, negative 40x squared, 600 minus 200 is 400, plus 3,000 equals our revenue, right? Okay, so that's my equation. So that's my quadratic equation for part B, okay? Part C says what price would give the greatest revenue. So we would want our maximum value. So again, to get the minimum and maximum, that's getting that vertex. So we're doing the negative B over 2A. So that would get our max number of price increases, and then we would plug it in, right? So if we come over here, B is 400, so negative 400 over 2 times A, which is negative 40. Okay, so I got negative B over 2A. All right, negative 400 over negative 80. The negatives would divide out. 400 divided by 80, you can put in your calculators, 5 price increases, okay? So that would be X. So that's the max number of price increases to get our max revenue. But then I actually got to plug it in, right? So I got negative 40 times 5 squared plus 400 times 5 plus 3,000. And the way I wrote it out, I believe it's how you can just punch in your calculator. So we're going to hit the white negative for that first negative, negative 40, parentheses 5 squared, plus 400, parentheses 5, plus 3,000. Gives us a revenue of $4,000 per day, okay? Says what price would give the greatest, well, okay. That would actually be our revenue, so I misread the question. All right, so we want our max revenue, but saying the price per dive. So 5 price increases. So that'd be 5 times 20 is 100 plus 100 would be $200 a dive, which would give us a revenue of, there'd be 20 dives per day, which would give us a revenue of 4,000. All right, what explicit expression can we use to find the next term in this sequence? We got 2, 8, 18, 32, 50. So all right, this is N1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's see here. Let's plug in N1, right? 2 times 1 is 2, all right? If we did it here, 2 times 2 is 4. Well, that doesn't work, okay? Here, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8. So I should have 1, 8. So that doesn't work. All right, 2n squared. So plug in 1. 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. That works. 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, it worked for that. Here, 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. It worked for that one. 4. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. So it's working for that one. Okay, so it's going to be C. All right. The function S of t equals vt plus h minus 0.5 at squared represents the height of an object s in feet above the ground in relation to time t in seconds since the object was thrown into the air with initial velocity of v feet per second and an initial height initial height of h feet, where a is the acceleration due to gravity. A baseball player hits a baseball 4 feet above the ground with an initial velocity of 80 feet per second. About how long will it take for the baseball to hit the ground? Okay, so we got to kind of read this to plug in stuff. Okay, so this works for anything, right? So let's see here. VT, initial velocity of v feet per second. So 80 feet per second. So we would have 80 t. We're just filling in the blanks here. Initial height h was 4. Okay, minus 0.5 AT squared. And a is the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so this would be 32. So that's where y'all have seen these negative 16 t squareds. Okay, this is negative 0.5 times 32. So half of 32 is 16, so that's where they're getting that. So I'm going to move that out in front, okay, plus 80t plus 4. So this looks like a little more common like the expressions we've been using, right? Negative 16t squared plus 80t plus 4 equals 0. How long will it take for the baseball to hit the ground? Okay, so again, it's telling us our height represents the height of an object, okay? So what will we plug in for t where the height is 0? So again, if we kind of remember, we're starting at a height of 4, so one of the times we're going to get is going to be a very slight negative time, to where if we've gone backwards in time from 0, this 4 would go back down to 0, right? Because it's kind of like, I've kind of drawn this before. If we're starting at 4, right? If we're starting at 4, we'd have to go backwards in time slightly to be at 0. Okay? So, again, you can just do the quadratic formula with this one, right? Got A, B, C. So negative 80 plus or minus the square root of 80 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 4 over 2 times negative 16. So it'll give me negative 80 plus or minus the square root of 6,400. That's 80 squared. Multiply that would be 256 over negative 32. This would be the square root of 6656, which is going to be what? $81.6. Okay, so I'm going to separate this over here. So I've got negative 80 plus 81.6 over negative 32. Negative 80 minus 81.6 over negative 32. 1.6 over negative 32 would be negative 0.05. Okay, so that's that slight negative time up here, so it's not that one. So negative 161.6 over negative 32. I am going to have to put that one in the calculator. It's going to be positive. Negative divided by negative is positive. It should be about 5.05. 61.6 divided by 32. 5.05. How about that? I did do that in my head. 5.05 seconds, so about 5 seconds. All right, so it's going a little longer than I want, but we got 2 more pages, so I just figure there's no point in breaking it out now. Well, I'll tell you what, actually. We will break it up. We'll just say the last 2 pages for last. All right. So I got 2 more pages to go. Page 22 and page 23.